Alright, so I'm back in the car, and I figured to do another rant of the week. And I am missing my cigarettes. I'm actually trying to quit, so I haven't had a cigarette in... This is nearing the end of day 2. So, we'll see how it goes. Usually around day 5, whenever I try, I talk myself into, well, 1 pack won't hurt. And then it all just goes downhill from there. Anyway, so rant of the week. And also, you know, really soon I want to do a rant of the week and show you guys some of the mountain ranges that I live in. So you can kind of get an idea of why it takes me so long to get to the stores sometimes, but not today. Long day at work, so I'll wait for a day off for that. I think that rant of the week will be called toy hunting. Anyway, yeah, that's a good idea. That's a good idea. Take you on a field trip. So anyway, today's topic, I wanted to do this before I actually reviewed some figures that I've got coming in. Those being, I got a knockoff Masterpiece Red Alert and a knockoff Smokescreen. The reason why I bought them was because I hear they're good, really good quality, and about half the price. If that's true, then I'm all in. If they're not that good, then I'm going to get the legit Masterpiece for the Sideswipe and Silver Streak, because I honestly don't care too much about Smokescreen and Red Alert. If you watched enough of my videos, you realize that. They're not my favorite characters. I could really care less if the figures I have are very good representations of them. But since I got Masterpiece Prowl and I've got the Faith Leader, eventually, you know, I think it's time to start getting the rest of the Masterpiece cars. Anyway, so, topic, knockoffs. You know, some people hate them, some people love them, you know, some people think they're not worth the money, some people think that they're just completely shameless money grabs. You know, it's such a mixed bag of it, and I honestly am torn on knockoffs. In this, you know, collection that you know that us as fans have, you know, it's hard to say, you know, well, no one should have knockoffs. There shouldn't be an existence of knockoffs. And unfortunately, I honestly think that in this type, knockoffs are a necessity. Most of the time, or some of the time anyway. Some of it's just shameless money grabs, and some of it's very shady, and I hate it. But some of it I actually enjoy. Okay, so, examples. A few years ago, KO Toys, or the CHMS, were making knockoffs of the classic Seeker mold. Now, a lot of people are like, oh, they're just ripping off Hasbro. Well, yes, they are ripping off Hasbro, but they're doing something that Hasbro wasn't doing. One, they were releasing the Seekers at about $20 a pop, I believe, when they first started coming out. But they were releasing them in the color schemes of the ones that either we didn't get right away, or Americans didn't get at all, or there's some sort of exclusive that that was just out of our reach, and their quality on them, for the most part, I know a lot of people did have problems, but for the most part, they were better quality than some of the official Hasbro figures at the time. I know because I bought the Thundercracker, the exclusive Thundercracker that came out in Japan. I can't remember the name of it, but it was some sort of toy store exclusive, and I purchased him at, you know, $80-$90 a pop, and dude barely held together. He was as bad as my acid storm. If you guys have been watching my videos, you know what that means. And this was a, you know, $80-$90 figure. Then KO Toys comes out, puts the same thing out for $20. Yeah, I'm gonna buy it. I'm gonna give it a shot. And lo and behold, he was better. He was a better quality figure. Paint amps were pretty much spot on. And yeah, I mean, I enjoyed it. And then they were doing other things too. And it's unfortunate that they closed, or whatever happened with them, because I haven't seen any of the new the Seekers come out in a long time. But you know, they did the Hidden K, Starscream, Thundercracker, Skywarp, and then Dirge, Ramjet, Thrust. You know, all of these. I mean, yeah, we got Skywarp, an exclusive 2-pack at Target. Very, you know, in and out, gone. And of course, you know, we got the Starscream, but not the Henkei colorations. And all of these were going for insane prices. I mean, hell, the first Thundercracker, Dirge, and Thrust that we got were BotCon exclusives that went for an insane amount of money. And then they were doing other things that Hasbro wasn't doing with the Seeker molds. They had like the Black Death Starscream. They had silver-plated Starscreams. They had gold-plated Starscreams. There was a test shot for a Hooligan, which I would have bought in a second. They did Sunstorm in G1 Sunstorm colors, and everybody bitched and moaned about him being too yellow and not orange enough, and I started calling him Piss Storm. And so then they released an orange Sunstorm. You know, the fans cried out, and then quickly got what they wanted. And then we got the Rainmakers, Clone Warriors. I mean, it was awesome. If I could go back, I'd definitely pick up some of the Clone Warriors, and then I wouldn't have bought the iGear Seekers because I would have just a massive army of classic Seekers. I would have loved that, but too late now. But anyway, so those KOs, I mean, yeah, they were knockoffs, but they put their own spin on them by doing the different colorations, and they were doing something. You know, they were selling them in packaging that looked familiar. But they actually put a CHMS stamp on them instead of using a Tarka stamp. And on the packaging, there was a CHM sticker on the packaging instead of the Tarka. And if you remember, the Tarka sticker was just a sticker; it wasn't printed on. The original ones, anyway. So, you know, yeah, they were getting really close, and I didn't like that. But at the same time, they were trying to show, like, okay, this is our products, not Hasbro. You know, when it comes to high-quality knockoffs, especially G1 knockoffs, my biggest irritation is not that it's being done, but it's being done and then people are selling them as the original figures. And that is where I draw the line. That's where I have to say, okay, this isn't right. This isn't good, because ultimately it's not the companies that suffer. It's the fans. It's the collectors that buy this figure thinking, oh, I just got a brand new G1 Grimlock out of package, and then they get it and they realize this isn't real. This is a knockoff. That's where I have to draw the line. As long as they differentiate themselves one way or another and make it very clear that they are not the real thing, or at least they're not being sold as the real thing, then I have to be like, okay, as long as they're not doing that, you know, then this collector's world has room for them. And then there's also the cheap dollar store knockoffs. I mean, those things exist. There's nothing we can do about them, and there's no way any of us true collectors will mistake one of the dollar store knockoffs for a real item. I mean, it's obvious, like, right out of the bat, because sometimes we'll look at it and it's either simplified or it's oversized or undersized, and it's usually like two horrible colors. I remember seeing an Optimal Optimus that was actually too big, and he was neon green and neon orange. Those were the only two colors on the whole thing, and it was hilarious. Things like that. I mean, they're going to always exist. There's nothing we can do about them, and nobody really wants them, and nobody's going to ever mistake them for real things. So, buy them for some kids or something like that. They're goofy, they're fun. It's the high-end ones that we're really discussing here. In particular, the high-end ones that you can't tell the difference. Now, the Masterpiece knockoffs, I haven't had them in hand, so I can't sit here and say, oh, well, the quality is good, the quality is bad. I don't know. I'm going off of just the look. The look makes them look a lot like the real thing. And I have heard of collectors buying what they thought was legitimate Masterpiece cars, and they ended up with knockoffs instead. And in case you do buy one at some point, definitely check out Rocket Punch Army, his videos, because he does an in-depth look on the knockoffs, and he'll show you what's real, what's not. He really does do a good job, and he actually gave me permission to post his videos in the links in my description of the knockoff Masterpieces that I'm getting, because I don't have both, and I'm not going to get both. I just don't have the money to spend on two figures. I mean, if I had the money to buy the Masterpiece one, I'd just keep the Masterpiece and not buy the knockoff. So anyway, so that's unfortunate that some people are selling them as legitimate figures, and they're in fact just knockoffs. That's not cool. I hope none of you guys do that. I know I wouldn't do that. If I have a knockoff figure and I sell it, I'm going to tell you it's a knockoff figure if I sell it at all. I don't think anybody should be buying a real figure and find out it's knockoff. That's horrible. I really wish they wouldn't copy the packaging, at least, on these things, and put them in packaging that's very apparently knockoff, and then we can that way we can choose to buy them or not. And people are going to still buy the knockoffs, and it's not anymore anyway. It's not necessarily the knockoff companies that are doing this to the fans. It's other fans, other scalpers, people like that are just being really, really shitty people, and they're the ones I hate. It ultimately boils down to that. It's not the knockoff figures. It's the people that are selling them as the real thing. And the companies aren't doing that. It's not the companies. CHMS, they put everywhere on their description that these are reproductions, these are knockoffs, these are CHMS Seekers. Nowhere do they say these are the Hasbro figures. No, they are blatantly saying, waving their arms like, hey, look at this is fake. And not to mention they're doing it in colors that Hasbro would never have thought of. Like at first the Rainmakers, and they actually gave us the neon Rainmakers as opposed to the Hasbro Rainmakers, which either way it's good. Anyway, But yeah, they tell everybody, what they're doing. And these masterpiece knockoffs, although, like I said, there have been reports of people getting knockoffs. Every time I've seen them on a store or on eBay, it says knockoff all over the side of it and stuff like that. So I'm not worried about that. If you're looking, my best advice for anybody looking to buy masterpiece figures with all these knockoffs is go to TF Source, Big Bad Toy Store, go to one of the big chain sites and buy it there. You might end up spending a few more bucks, but you're getting a legit figure from a legit company that if there's something wrong with the figure, you'll be able to send parts of it back, or they'll send you new parts. That's what I would do. Now, back to the knockoffs. Like I said, sometimes it works out, sometimes it doesn't. And Fans Project figures are being knocked off now. I'm sure it's only a matter of time before somebody starts doing TFC figures. I know they did upscaled versions of Perfect Effects Reflector, which was hideous. Just absolutely hideous colors. If they did it in better plastic and did an original paint scheme, I would buy that in a second. But the plastic's not very good from what I hear, so I'm not going to buy that. Why buy something that's a horrible paint job? Let's see. Yeah. I guess that's... I just remember fondly, as a kid, being able to pick up some knockoffs every now and then from Big Lots, or I think at the time it was called McFrugal's. I'd go in there and I'd spend $5 and I'd get a yellow Devastator, and I was so happy about that. And then they also had the Combaticons, they had the Aerial Bots, they had Defensor. So it's like, I'd go in there and I'd spend $20 and I'd have I'd have 4 Combinders, 2 for Autobots, 2 for Decepticons. They had a bunch of Beast Wars figures that were like $2, and I'd just buy them and just have a blast with them. I'd end up, every few weeks I'd have to go back and buy another set of one of them because something broke, because the plastic quality just isn't there. But it was fun. I enjoyed it. I got a kick out of that. And I don't think there's anything wrong with the knockoffs because, I was able to play pretty rough as a kid with these toys. I'm chucking them across the room and they're shattering, and it's like, oh, well, that was $1. Oh, well, move on to the next one. And it was a lot of fun. And you don't have to, I never had to worry about breaking my real figures. Timer was just about out. And then like Walgreens had also had knockoffs of Devastator, but they were in completely different colorations. Like Scrapper was red. Some of them were yellow and some were green. There was the Mixmaster, I think, was black. Horrible colors, but they actually reproduced some of the parts in die-cast, and which made it like just slightly better quality than even like the G2 repaints of these of Devastator, and it was actually a pretty solid set. I ended up like getting 5 of them in like a day, but I could never find that 6th one right away, so I looked everywhere. It took me like a month before I finally found the damn thing. And I absolutely love that set. You know, this was before there was actually, you know, classic style Devastators out there, so, you know, I was just kind of settling for a Combinder. But I mean, I really enjoyed it. So, yeah, I'm not sitting here, I'm not going to say, you know, knockoffs are, you know, the best thing that's ever happened. No. They're cheap. They're good for customizing. You know, if you want to customize something, that way you're ruining the original figure. They're good for kit bashing, so it's like, you know, I'm trying to repair, you know, such and such character from the Beast Wars. Like when I first was collecting Beast Wars, I found a rat trap on eBay for cheap, but he was missing one of his paws, and so I bought a knockoff, and I took the paw off of that and put it on him. It worked just the same colors, everything was perfect. So I was like, sweet, I'll just go with that. So yeah. Now iGear. Let's talk about iGear for a minute, because they've done some things with knockoffs. First, one of their first major projects was Faith Leader, and you guys saw my review on that, and you know my opinion of that. Which, again, you know, it was a good idea. They just didn't pull it off all the way. You know, the plastic, they should have simplified it. If you're going to make it smaller, you should simplify things. Now, you know, I mean, it's clear, you know, that he's not the Masterpiece 10. So I'm not the original Masterpiece figure in PO1. So I'm not as, like, irritated that they did that, because of the fact that, you know, he's like half the size. I mean, there's no way you're going to sit there and be like, oh, well, I think this is the Masterpiece figure. No, you're going to sit there and be like, no, that's not the Masterpiece figure. There's something wrong here. So, I mean, I wish they would have made it a better quality, but, you know, it is what it is, I guess. And then they did the Seekers, the Masterpiece Seekers. Now, you know, they did all these fixes to the Masterpiece Seekers when they released theirs, and then they also did the cone heads. And from what I hear, it was somebody else's design, but I don't really know that. I wasn't the guy that designed those figures, and until he like sues iGear for it, I think it's all hearsay until then. But I don't know. I don't know. Maybe they bought maybe they bought the design from the guy. Who knows? I don't know. I don't know for sure. Anyway, you know, they did all these fixes for their Seekers. You know, they changed the feet design, they changed the leg design, they did this and this and this, and then it was funny because shortly afterwards, Hasbro released the Seekers with those fixes, and also, you know, shortly after Faith Leader, Hasbro released a smaller Masterpiece Optimus Prime, which was now MP10. So I think it's kind of funny that, you know, iGear was ahead of the game, even though they were just knockoff figures. They were still ahead of the game on that. So it's just, I don't know. What obvious question of the day is, what is your opinion? What do you guys think of knockoffs? I know a lot of people are going to hate them. A lot of people are going to like them, and a lot of people are going to go meh. You know, who cares about them? Some of them, I'm actually really excited to get these Masterpiece cars in. I'm really excited to see, you know, how they look, how they transform. Because I haven't messed with Masterpiece Sideswipe, so Masterpiece Red Alert is the same figure. So I'm very excited to mess with him. And I have Masterpiece Prowl, so I know the basic design of the smokescreen. So that's the only thing I'm going to really be able to base it off of. But I'm really excited for those guys to come in. So yeah, question of the day is, what do you guys think of the Masterpiece, or not Masterpiece, of knockoffs in general? And I want to hear at least one horror story from everybody and one awesome story from everybody. So yeah, Guess that's really all there is.